blazing hot.
We just gotten bottles popping, pieces heavy, models flocking, plenty Benjis. I need options. She just had me, got her locked in. I'm too turned up, don't start that. The pressure real where your heart at. And lean right here, we part that. The real ice box my heart at. Now baby, don't start that. Let me chill for a bit, don't come back. Keep saying that you love me, I'm phone back. I'm a real scared nigga, what you call that? Low key, plotting.
My name is Cyril Armel and Paco Sanjay. It's my full name. From Piscataway, New Jersey. College, went to school for business administration. I feel like, especially my generation, a lot of us didn't really have roadmaps or guidance. We just knew to come to school, try to figure it out as you go. So, kind of working odd jobs, trying to start our own business, which I did with Basketball Society, myself and a couple partners, or one partner, boy partner. Just trying to figure out something, hoping that one of these talents kind of stuck and transition to China. What made me come to China? I got to give a big shout out to my bro, Maurice Hager. You guys may know him as Mo Hager. He played in the NBA for 5 seasons, I believe. And he looked me out with the opportunity, referred me to a great, amazing gig to come to China to coach basketball, just experience different things. And that was back in 2017, and I've been here since. Teach them the fundamentals, just trying to create an environment for them to enjoy basketball and also learn a little bit of English while they do it. Because I think that that engagement with the parents and the kids is very important. For me, being somebody that played sports, was involved in sports my whole life, my parents were always soccer, basketball, they were on some football as well. Like, we watched sports as a family, they came to all my games. Supported and also played. My dad played at a high level. My mom also played too. So I think just that involvement, parents interacting, competing with their kids, and also encouraging their kids on the court as well from on the sidelines, I think is very important and critical for the development of any young kid. I picked up basketball just being around my neighborhood. All my friends played. I played soccer. Soccer was big in my family. But I transitioned to basketball around 11, 12 years old. So when I really fell in love with the game of basketball, and I decided that I wanted to play that full time in terms of sports. The reason why I picked up the basketball is Allen Iverson. I think he was the first person that I saw that was like, he's small. I was small coming up, and he was just heartless and fearless. He's not heartless. He had a bunch of heart. He was just fearless. He wasn't afraid of anybody. Excuse me. And for me, he made a kid dream. So Iverson for sure early on, and then obviously you got to say Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, and my current favorite player for the last maybe 10 or so years is LeBron James. I think just the absence of like all the distractions that you may face, especially in certain neighborhoods in the States, not having to worry about unjust police encounters, not having to worry about making it home safely, neighborhood violence, just certain things that you kind of have to worry about and be mindful of back at home that you don't really have. So I think my opportunities have been fostered in that environment of not really living in paranoia or fear. And definitely, the main thing is obviously being so far away from home and being away from family. But if you come here with an open mind, I think certain things will open up for you in a heartbeat, especially if you allow yourself to be immersed into the culture. I think it's more so a lack of interactions. I think primarily for one, there's not too many of us here. And if we do encounter some people as locals who have never really interacted with a foreigner, you might be the first person that they've ever even been able to have access to. So with that being said, they don't have a frame of reference to fall back on. So for us in the States, like, it's not unusual for you to interact or go to school with white kids, with Asians, with Indians, with kids from the Middle East, kids from Europe. You're kind of forced to interact with people early on. So when you get to a later stage in life, you've already had those interactions. whereas a lot of people here have never had those interactions. And I think people base a lot of their interactions and their opinions off of what they hear rather than what they experience. So for me, I wouldn't say it's, I mean, there is some prejudice. There may be some people who don't like you for the simple fact of you being a different race, of course. But I will say this, is that for me, it's more so, I think, ignorance rather than racism, in my experience at least. And I haven't really experienced it on a large scale here. There have been cases here and there, but I kind of handle it in a different way. Kill them with kindness. Cee Armel, which is, my nickname has been Cee since I was 2. Armel is part of my first name, so yeah, man. You know, it's my rap name, my artist name. I've been rapping since I was 9 years old, so well over 20 years. Big shout out to my best friend, 400. We started rapping together in elementary school. Being huge fans of DMX, Rough Riders early on, Jay-Z, Nas, you name it. Those are some of our influences. And just kind of rapping along songs on the radio, recording songs on cassette tapes, and transitioning into like, hey, maybe I could do it. You know, and also Fo's older brother, Cyril. Big shout out to Reed. He was a rapper as well. So I think just being around them all day kind of influenced us to start at a younger age. So rap has been my life since I was 2, 3 years old. I remember my mom buying MC Hammer tapes for me when I was super little. You know what I mean? So I've always loved music, always. Projects, first things first, I got Lost in Translation with myself and Mo, that's 1. And then number 2 was See the World. 3 was Kingdom Season. 4 was Energy, which was a collaborative effort by Let's Roll Records, which is my team back home. 5 was an Easeway album, which is kind of like an Afro hip-hop fusion with my boy Eves. 6 was First Class Flights, which I think is probably my best project. And 7 on the way soon will be See the World 2. Everywhere. Everywhere. Apple Music is what I use primarily. Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, Pandora, YouTube, QQ Music, some other Chinese platforms as well. So yeah, you can find my music pretty much anywhere. I think my biggest problem is that I'm not a good self-promoter. I think a lot of people who hear me rap always wonder why I'm not bigger, or I'm not reaching a bigger audience in their opinion because of the talent level that they think I possess. And you know me, I feel like I'm more of a private person and I want people to appreciate it in time. I've never really been one to put myself out there on Front Street, but that's something that I'm kind of learning to embrace a little more. I think you've been chosen or blessed with certain abilities that other people may not have. There's nothing wrong with kind of flaunting it and being happy for the work that you put in. So that's something I'm learning to do more and more, to embrace the kind of attention that comes with talent. I mean, I'm a kid who fell in love with the golden era of hip hop. When I was coming up, obviously the names I stated earlier, Jay-Z, who I think is the best rapper of all time and one of my biggest influences. Styles P, Jadakiss, I think I'm an East Coast rapper through and through. I can switch it up with different styles for sure. I switch my flows up every couple songs. But I would say I'm somebody who's big on lyricism. I think that holds a special weight for me. Of course, you have to have nice beats. Some beats that are relatable to the times. It doesn't have to be a current sound, but something that's within reach. And also too, I always want to express a certain message in my music and say something of significance. I want the listener to walk away learning something. And so I would say I keep up with the flows for sure, but I also want you to walk away improved as a person who listens to my music in whatever aspect of it. I think, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think a lot of times the crowd is definitely in awe at times when they see me perform because they assume certain things and then they see me on stage usually by myself and the energy that I possess by myself. I don't need a whole entourage by myself. And I think I'm a much better live performer than a lot of people are. And people appreciate the music. I mean, I'm still getting shows, so it must be something that is expected from me. but I just think that people can feel my passion and feel my energy throughout my mic on stage. I mean, that's always going to be, an issue, but I think more so people respect the art form more so than their inability to truly understand the depth of everything that you're saying. And of course, you and I both know from certain areas with different slangs, there may be some things that native English speakers may not understand. So one thing that I'm definitely going to work on going forward is definitely doing some lyric breakdowns, trying to explain certain things, certain lines that people have messaged me privately, like, oh, what does this mean when you say this, when you say that? But in terms of the translation issues, I think music is music. Music is something that transcends culture. I mean, it's the thing that unites everybody across the globe. Whether it's sports or music, music is definitely something that people feel. We have people in China who love Bob Marley. We have people in Africa who love James Brown, Michael Jackson. Probably don't understand any of the things that they were singing about, but they feel the music, they feel the passion, and they love the culture. So those are things that I think that music is beautiful. I mean, I think they go hand in hand. I think they go hand in hand just for the simple fact of, especially like basketball culture now, especially the NBA, youth basketball culture is so hip hop influenced. A lot of these players nowadays grew up on the rappers that we all listen to. There's a famous saying is that basketball players want to be rappers and rappers want to be basketball players. The two are kind of intertwined. You see Drake linking up with some very notable basketball trainers online and really going through rigorous training. For what? I don't know. Maybe a celebrity game in the future. I'm not sure, but it goes hand in hand. You have some basketball players, shout out to Dame Lillard for sure, who dibble and dab into the music. Shaq was a superstar in music. He went platinum. Had songs with Big E, with Nas, Jay-Z. So I think those two kind of mirror each other. Basketball, for myself and a lot of my peers, was a way out. It was an escape from whatever environment you were in, and music has also been that as well. Rap was the voice of the voiceless. That's where it started from. The kids in the South Bronx who felt disenfranchised by general society created an art form that is now the dominant popular music across the planet. When they started it in the 70s, I'm sure they didn't imagine that it would, 50 years later, would become the biggest thing on the planet. So, rap and basketball for me go hand in hand, for sure. For one, thank God there's FaceTime. Thank God there's social media. Social media can get crazy at times. I'm appreciative of being able to pick up my phone and just 2 seconds. I'm 2 seconds away from anybody on my phone. I talk to my mom pretty much every day or every other day. I talk to my nephew, my brother, my sister-in-law a couple days a week. I talk to my homies several days a week. So I think just the added benefit of being connected to people. Sometimes people don't even realize like how far I am away, and because they feel like they always are talking to me. I may not be there in the physical, but I'm definitely there spiritually, mentally, and I try to stay as connected as I can to my people back home through technology, for sure. I've dated foreigners, I've dated Chinese girls for sure. I think communication is definitely a very important element to it. And it also depends on how serious you are trying to be. There's a lot of people who are out here, we're adults, we don't have to sugarcoat anything. I think if you make your intentions, or you let your intentions be known from get-go, it is what it is, and my experiences have been all over the place. I've had some casual encounters, I've had some encounters that have been a little more serious, I've had some encounters that have been a little iffy, just because of the cultural differences, I would say. I think in my personal experience, I don't want to speak for everybody, but some of the women that I've encountered here deal with a lot of societal pressures, especially the locals, in terms of being married at a certain age or being at a certain level in society, whether it's financially or socially, and sometimes they put that pressure on you. And I'm somebody who's never dealt well with my hand is forced. Because I don't force anybody's hand for anything, and I don't like my hand to be forced. I think things should naturally develop. And so I've had some encounters. I mean, right now I have a lady, and it's been going well for sure. She's a local girl, she's a sweetheart. But I've also had some encounters in the past that have been kind of frustrating. And I don't want to say a waste of time, but along those lines. So think dating is like, dating is universal. Men and women are the same in any country. Communication, like I said earlier, eliminates a lot of problems, but it also creates a lot of it too if you don't have that communication for sure. Chinese is great. Excellent. Translator app, man, the best apps in the world. You know? But I got the cheat code though. I got a girl that's, that speaks good enough English. So I'm able to maneuver a little bit. And if I have an issue or I'm perplexed about something, or I just hand her the phone and she handles that issue for me. And the same with her with English. I think my background has definitely been universal from the jump. My parents moved to America from Cameroon, Central Africa, back in the 80s, late 80s. And so from early on, I kind of always understood the importance of being malleable when it came to cultures, understanding other people's cultures, embracing other cultures, because we're all different, but a lot of us are all similar in a lot of ways too. I have some friends here who love hip hop and study it more than some of my friends back home. And so I think with that being said, I was always encouraged to be a worldly person. I'm bilingual naturally. I speak French and English. French is my first language. So I always loved learning about different cultures from an early age. I think that me being here is kind of like the best luxury, like you said earlier, in terms of so many cultures, so many people from different places here. I'm afforded opportunities of having conversations with people from different places that I probably normally wouldn't have. I think especially as adults, we settle into certain routines. You go to the same bars every night, you go to the same restaurants, you're surrounded by the same peers. Whereas here, there's not too many of us here. So anytime I'm out, I'm either with locals, or I'm with people from Eastern Europe, Central Europe, other parts of Asia, South America, some parts of Africa, other parts of the States as well. So you're learning different cultures, and you're also learning the Chinese culture as well. And so if you allow yourself to be open to it, it's a beautiful thing for me. The biggest thing I've learned is trusting myself, and trusting in my abilities for one, and also not being afraid to try different things. I think a lot of us growing up, we're afraid to make mistakes. We're afraid to be open to certain things because we don't want to look like we're not cool. We want to fit in. And being here, 9 times out of 10, anytime I step out of my front door, I'm going to be the outball. I'm going to be the outsider. I'm going to be the person that's going to get pointed at and get looked at. And so you develop tough skin quickly. If I didn't have it before, I already had it, but you develop it even more just for the simple fact that I'm a black man, like you said earlier, in China, in a country that doesn't see too many black men, for one. So I think just having that self-confidence for sure has propelled me a long way. I told a lot of my friends that in my first 6 months here, I grew in ways that I wasn't growing in the States in 5 to 10 years. I grew immensely here because we're alone here. And to be successful here for this long and still be doing it and still have a certain passion for what I do, whether it's music or basketball or just interacting with these kids, I think a huge testament of that is definitely my self-reliance and my self-confidence and self-assurance, for sure. I mean, you know, man, we love Chinese food in the hood at home. It's not the same. I was disappointed when I couldn't get any sesame chicken or General Tso's chicken when I first got here. But I mean, the food is good. You know, it took me by surprise, for sure, when I first got here. We do have some foreign restaurants and other foods, for sure, Indian, some Mexican places and other foods as well. But I allow myself to eat, and I think that's been the biggest thing too, is that with my experience with locals, is that if they invite me out, I never turn it down. I try to, open up to it, and I'm down to try anything once as long as it's not poison. I had horse in Vietnam. I will never have it again. So I'll probably say horse. Horse, I had a donkey sandwich. My boy TT urged me, these donkey wraps are amazing. I had some donkey sandwich. Actually, it wasn't that bad, it was pretty good. So donkey and horse are 2 foods that I never thought I would probably try in my life. Okay. See the world. No pun intended. Actually, all puns intended. But see the world. I think see the world is my motto, it's my brand, it's my music, it's my life. And I think a lot of us just need to get out there and experience different things. I have countless friends who hit me up every day and tell me how much of an inspiration I am to them, but they've also inspired me in different ways as well. And I just think that being somebody who moved across the world and was able to carve out a special niche for himself and to connect with so many different people. Like I said, you and I met when I first got here. You were easily becoming one of my brothers here. I'm thankful for that, but I think people need to get out of their comfort zones. That's something that restricts a lot of people. Not appreciating the element of surprise, but also that life, you can plan for your life as much as you want. There's certain things that come out of nowhere and you have to roll with the punches. When I was young, going to college or in high school, my dream was to leave or playing basketball overseas or in the NBA. That was my goal, that was my focus. I never imagined that I would be in China, out of all places, and actually kind of making it home and making it like a life for myself. I never thought that. When I first got here, my plan was to be here for a year, experience it, enjoy it, and that year went by so quick, and I loved it, and I'm going on year 4 now. So I think the ability to adapt, especially as black folks, black men, there's so much that's thrown at us, but embrace this life, appreciate it, and soak in the experiences and the interactions that you'll have along your journey, whatever it may be. And I'll say this as well: China may not be for everybody. Your golden ticket or whatever it may be in a different place, maybe in a different state, a different city, a different country. But for me, China has afforded me the ability to do everything that I dreamed on doing on a high scale, and love it, and get paid for it. So I'm more than thankful.